Hello my friends.
Welcome all guests of the fair.
The fun at Dark Moon Fair is coming to an end. According to the initial plans of the developers, the new year in Hearthstone will not come in April, but in March.
Of course, the pandemic significantly affects the productivity of the Hearthstone team and there is a possibility that the release will be postponed. In any case, we should prepare for the annual rotation and release of the new expansion earlier than usual.
After the end of the Year of the Phoenix, 4 sets from the Year of the Dragon will leave Standard Mode: Rise of Shadows, Saviors of Uldum, Descent of Dragons and Galakrond's Awakening. In addition, we will lose a large number of basic and classic cards.
We decided to take stock and tell you about the most influential and popular legendary cards in the meta that are leaving Standard Mode, as well as those we will miss the most. We will also try to convince you to keep at least some of these cards in your collection, since a few will definitely find a home in Wild.
By the way, if you need a great detailed disenchanted guide, please click the like button or let us know in the comments.
Now let's talk about our list.
Based on our weekly data obtained over the last 2 years, we determined the average popularity for all legendary cards. In addition, we added information about their current popularity in Wild and Standard. Starting off, our top 20 is Galakrond, the Wretched. Due to a lack of archetypes, the Warlock had to use Galakrond far too often as the basis for both aggressive and control decks. Over the past 4 expansions, this card has been used in every other Warlock deck. This is the only Warlock card on our list. I hope the developers will give more love to the class next year.
In 19th is Katrina Muerte. This is a very important card for both the Big and Resurrect Priest archetypes, which will be in trouble after rotation. If Big Druid has a chance of remaining in the meta, then Resurrect will most likely disappear altogether. Katrina Muerte will continue to be an important card for some versions of Big Priest in Wild. This is one of the few cards on our list that has a prominent spot in Wild. We strongly advise against disenchanting this card.
The release of Galakrond, the Tempest, completely paralyzed the metagame. Every 4th deck in the meta played this card. It was crazy. Galakrond was extremely powerful in combination with Corrupt the Waters and Shutterwalk. Fortunately, balance changes gradually reduced the impact of this strategy. Despite this, however, Galakrond Shaman remained one of the most popular Shaman archetypes for quite some time. The archetype has lost most of its relevance over the past few months.
Maligo's Aspect of Magic is the perfect card for Highlander Mage. This archetype remained the most popular for mages for about 8 months. The ability to get improved versions of classic mage spells made this card just as useful as Zephyr's.
In 16th place is Corrupt the Waters. The best days of Quest Shaman in Standard Mode are far behind us, but this card has a fairly high popularity in Wild Mode, although its efficiency is poor.
Next in line is Dino-Tamer Bran, an essential tool for the Highlander Hunter archetype. The nerf had almost no effect on the strength of this card or on the archetype in general. Highlander Hunter is still one of the most effective decks in Standard Mode. But unfortunately the fate of Bran in Wild Mode is too vague, as the Hunter is one of the worst classes there.
14th place is held by Isura Unleashed. This is one of my favorite late game cards. Isura held a very important place in the standard Druid archetypes. Of course, it was not always an indispensable card. For example, the card is a supplemental addition to Guardian and Trent archetypes. However, the map is quite popular in Wild Mode, especially in Jade Druid.
In spot 13 is Kaligos, the perfect tool for the Highlander Mage archetype. The most popular version of the archetype removed Kaligos from its new build, but other versions still remain true to this legendary dragon.
In 12th place is the Amazing Reno. This card gives you an extremely unreliable, yet powerful, hero power. Despite this, the card has become an important tool for Highlander Mage, Cthulhu Mage, Vargoth OTK, and even some versions of No Minion Mage. The popularity of the card in Wild Mode is almost 2%, which is an extremely high result. What could be better than the Amazing Reno? Only Reno the Relicologist. This is a great card with no flaws that made the Highlander archetype extremely popular and effective. On average, 42% of mages have used this card in the meta game. Reno manages to remain the best hero of the League of Explorers in any form. Reno, we will miss you.
Starting off the top 10 cards is Archmage Vargoth. The unique effect of this card has created ample space for players' creativity. Vargoth has managed to create a large number of fun, effective and sometimes even completely unbalanced combos. Nowadays this card serves an auxiliary role in standard archetypes, while in wild mode it is still definitely an integral part of the game.
9th place is held by Galakrond, the Unspeakable, the ultimate legendary priest card. Even when not fully invoked, Galakrond can destroy a single enemy minion while also swapping you to his value-based hero power. For this reason, almost all priest control archetypes include him in their list. This is another huge loss for the priest. In spot 8 is Heist Baron Togwaggle. This card has had several bursts of popularity over the past 2 years, and has even managed to completely take over the metagame, albeit not for long. The ability to get one of the 4 fantastic treasure has proven incredibly useful and effective. This card works especially well with Galakrond, the Nightmare. Unfortunately, the current popularity of the card is low in both standard and wild modes.
Dragonbane has become the best legendary hunter card. This card is one of the major reasons for Highlander Hunter's resounding success. Believe it or not, for the first few weeks after its release, players completely ignored this powerful card. The loss of the Highlander archetype will deal a significant blow to the hunter. In 6th place is Flick Skyshift. This minion is the perfect removal of single or multiple copies of a minion, and is likewise great at clearing large boards of tokens such as Treants and Silver Hand recruits. In other words, this card is removal without any flaws. Flick is often used with Galakrond, the Nightmare.
Thanks to the power of Galakrond the Nightmare, Rogue has become one of the most popular classes in the game. For almost a year, Galakrond has been a main component of Rogue decks, and to be honest, I'm pretty tired of it. However, there is almost no room for Galakrond in the current wild mode meta.
Siamat is an extraordinarily versatile card. The diverse possibilities when it comes to combinations of buffs makes him a strong card in various situations. Siamat has been extremely useful in almost all Highlander decks.
Before we talk about the top 3 cards on our list, we need to think back to the classic Edwin Van Cleef. We already know for sure that the core set will not contain this card, which means Edwin will no longer be available in standard mode, at least for the next year. And here's the main reason for this: according to the results of the last 2 years, Edwin has become the best class legendary card. Before the nerf, over 82% of rogue decks used this card. This is indeed an unacceptable result for the current state of Hearthstone. After the nerf, the influence of Edwin has decreased several times, but this is still not enough for the developers.
Next on the list is another card exclusively for Highlander archetypes. On average, 14.5% of decks use Dragon Queen Alexstrasza during this rotation. The card's current popularity in wild and standard modes is about the same. You should save this card, as it will definitely live on in the wild format.
In 2nd place is Zephyrs the Great.
What? Are you guys sure this isn't a bug? I was sure that this card would come first.
Dora, there is no mistake. Zephyrs the Great is by far the most unique card on this list, as well as my favorite card, and I am sad I must say goodbye to it. The card was so good that players tried to adapt even non-Highlander decks to be able to use its unique effect. The influence of this card is difficult to describe, so I will simply provide you with one fact: in the current meta game in wild mode, this is the most popular card. In other words, this card is the best of the 2,800 cards in the format. Dear Zephyrus, unfortunately your time in standard is coming to an end. We will miss you so much.
So, who came first?
Kronk's Dragonhoof has become the most popular card according to average popularity. To be honest, there is nothing special about this card, it is just an additional tool that makes any Galakrond deck even stronger.
But in my opinion, the winner characterizes the state of the metagame well over the past 15 months. More than 21% of decks have used this card. This is an extremely high result considering that only 5 out of 10 classes had access to Galakrond.
In this video, we only talked about legendary cards, but there are a large number of important rare and common cards. Let's remember the best of them.
As you can see, the Year of the Dragon contained too many useful cards. This year was filled with tons of unique combinations, interesting mechanics and unexpected mid-events.
By the way, you have a great opportunity to remember the lists of the best legendary cards that left standard mode during previous rotations and compare them with this year's rotation. We have created a special playlist link you will find in the description under the video.
Finally, we want to present you with a difficult choice. Which year of Hearthstone do you find more interesting in terms of new cards and mechanics? The current Year of the Phoenix or the Year of the Dragon that is leaving standard mode soon? We have created a poll in our community tab.
Please take part in this, and our other polls.
We will be extremely grateful to you for liking and subscribing to the channel as well as for turning on all notifications using the bell icon. You can also join our squad of loyal patrons and help us create new videos.
Dear friends, from all of my robotic heart, thank you so much for any kind of support.
Alright, that's all for today. Thank you for being with us.
And special thanks to Chris for his invaluable help.
We will definitely meet in a new video. Good luck.
Okay, cut.
Guys, what Hearthstone year is the most interesting for you in terms of new cards?
Dora, the perception of new cards, mechanics and the meta is very subjective, but for me, the Year of the Dragon is definitely much more interesting than the Year of the Phoenix. Firstly, each new set of the Year of the Dragon had a tremendous impact on the meta game, and secondly, all legendary cards were useful at least for a short period of time.
Dora, just think about it. For the first time in history, absolutely all legendary cards were useful. In my opinion, the influence of the Phoenix year sets was not so tangible. But I have an inexplicable feeling that the coming years of Hearthstone could be even better than the Year of the Dragon.